What's going on, 49er faithful, 49er fam, 49er gang? This is your boy, Niner Gang Podcast, back in the building. So definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on the post notifications, try to keep you up to date on any and everything San Francisco 49ers. With that being said, let's get right on into it. Good afternoon, Roy Boy. So this is not necessarily about the Niners, though I will include them in here to a small extent. But this is more so about what's going on in the league and what happened with Coach Flores and the class action lawsuit that he has filed against the NFL. And, alleging the practices of, the NFL and the hiring has been unfair as far as black head coaches are concerned. So here's the thing. Since it's a really touchy subject, and here's the reason why. A lot of people will pass this off as, well, hey, they just picked the person who's qualified. That doesn't make any sense. And that's a horrible excuse. And if you believe that, then you're just oblivious to some things that are right there in your face. We all understand and know that in this country, black people have been treated unfairly in many different ways, in many different occasions, and some of these things still happen to this day. It's just masked in different ways. Okay? So, when you think about it, is this something that is new? Probably not, but then again, it is something that does need to be addressed and it does need to change. The unfortunate situation that we're dealing with here is the fact that we have 32 NFL teams and we have one minority owner. His name is Shad Khan. I'm not sure on his descent, so I don't want to speak on it. I'll have to look it up and tell you what it is. But I believe Shad Khan is from the Middle East somewhere, possibly even Indian. I'm not sure. But the hard part about this is they've been doing this to us for years. This is nothing new. There have been 113 head coaching vacancies in the NFL. And since 2000, there have been 131 head coaching vacancies in the NFL. 19 of those vacancies have been filled by black head coaches. The only other coaches in that time span that were hired that were not white is Ron Rivera and Robert Saleh. Ron Rivera is Latino. Robert Saleh is Lebanese. So one owner, Shad Khan, as I had stated, is not white. So with Coach Flores, he still has interviews for the Houston Texans, and I believe he had another interview for somewhere else. I don't remember exactly where. But here's the problem. Basically, they're hiring their own people. The Rooney Rule, while we appreciate what they did and instituting that rule, we really appreciate it. We thank you for any help that you've given us. So to the Rooney family, this is meant with no disrespect. It's just a rule that says we got to get interviewed. This ain't nothing. What's going on, Breezy? This says nothing about us being hired. And this is the problem. We can walk in there with a resume that spans years upon years, from college to high school to pros. We've been here, we've been there, we've been everywhere. But still someone else gets hired because they look like you, because they speak your language. But here I am in a league that's 70% black, and I can't get on? I don't understand that. I think I would identify with the players a heck of a lot more, me being the same person as they are, to an extent. Everybody has different walks of life. But I can tell you right now, in this country, sometimes being black is purgatory. Your skin color, literally, us as men, Breezy is watching right now. He has a son. I had 2 sons. Mose has a son. Do you understand? One of the worst things in the world that I got to talk to my 2 boys about is how to act around the damn police, and they're supposed to protect them. I have to have that talk. And this is nothing against white males, but you don't have to have that talk with your kids. because they can go and get reckless. My child's life is on the line if one wrong word is said, one wrong move is made. Reaching for a wallet, reaching for a cell phone, reaching for a comb, anything. Your life can be taken in seconds because these cops will say that their life was feared for. So when it comes to this situation with us being hired as head coaches, you know what that tells me? They just practicing the same old bullshit they've been doing for years. See, I don't call things blackball because black people aren't the ones doing it. I call it white ball because white people are the ones doing it. This has nothing to do with us. We're not hurting ourselves. We're going out there working just as hard as the next person, giving people everything that we got and getting nothing in return for it and getting shafted on the way, along the way. Jeff Fisher had one of the worst head coaching careers ever when it came to the Rams. He was horrible, but he kept his job. Steve Wilkes got 1 year. David Culley, 1 year. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some coaches that have been out there and they've had some long tenures, and some of them, yeah, rightfully so. Hey, man, you screwed up. You've been here for so long. You keep losing. I don't know what's happening. You got to go. I can understand that. But the fact that there have been 131 vacancies since the year 2000 and only 19 times that we've been fucking considered is a goddamn atrocity. And it really, really hits home. It pisses me off. Once again, 70% African Americans in your league, but you barely got any head coaches that look like them, that understand them, that talk to them, that go through their walks of life, that know where they're coming from, that have been through anything that they've been through, that could relate to them on any way. Now, I'm not saying that all coaches out there are unrelatable as far as to the players, but keep it a buck, man. There's different things we go through that you just will never experience. You know, you love people like Eddie DeBartolo because he was a great owner. You know, he tried to identify with people. He talked to people. Really good dude. But the Eddie D's are far few and in between in this league. You got your Jerry Joneses and you know, your other owners that are out there, man. So many different people. Carolina Panthers were up for sale. There was a collective of black people that wanted to buy that team. They pooled their money. But you know what that owner said? Nah, we ain't doing that. Can't have it. And I'm going to keep it a buck. We can't have you niggas in the office. It's basically what it means. See, I'm going to say what I feel and how I feel because I know that these are things that they're thinking. Hell, the Houston Texans owner said we can't have the inmates running the asylum. These are things that are right there in your face, and a lot of people choose to be oblivious to it and look the other way. So let's go over some of these coaches and, you know, take a look and see what's going on. So currently right now, I'm going to jump to this. Currently right now in the NFL, there's a few head coaching vacancies. Some of those vacancies have been filled. And what a coincidence. Everybody's white. The Raiders hired Josh McDaniels. The Giants hired Brian Daboll, which unfortunately pretty much kind of started this situation with Coach Flores because Bill Belichick texted him basically telling him he got the job, and Flores let it go on, and then he turned around and said, hold on. You sure you're talking to the right Brian? Because I'm Flores, not Daboll. And he goes, oops, fuck that one up. Does that look bad on Bill Belichick? No, because he just tied in everybody in the league. He knows people. He's been around forever, man. Belichick been around since Bill Walsh was around. This dude was the defensive coordinator for the Browns, for the Giants. He got the head coaching job with the Patriots. Belichick has been around. He's connected. So him having the knowledge of that information doesn't make him look bad. But it makes the Giants look stupid because you're bringing me in for an interview that's basically a waste of my fucking time. I'm going to go in here and interview knowing I don't have the goddamn job. You've already given it to someone else. So what the fuck is the point of that interview? And that's just basically the truth of it. That's not fair. Why am I going to go interview for a job that I definitely know I'm not going to get? I don't want to do that. So I'm not going to New York and do all that shit. For what? And everybody says, well, you should still do the interview. It looks good on your resume. It looks good for me to go and sit somewhere and waste my damn time knowing they ain't going to give me the damn job. Really? That looks good? Oh, just be a good old boy. Go on, do what you're supposed to do now. Don't talk back. Don't talk back. To the people in the wrong way. These folks, they help us out. See, we don't do that shit. We live in a real era where ain't no shucking and jiving around here. I'm not about to hop on the good foot and do a dance for you because that's what you asking me to do. Screw that. If I don't have this job, why am I going to interview for it? And it sticks in my craw because unfortunately these are things that happen, man, and no one cares. These white owners don't give two craps about none of this. This class action lawsuit don't mean nothing. You know why? Because that money that they giving up is a drop in the bucket. Look, man, go ahead and break this dude off some bread. Tell him shut up, leave us alone. Then what we're going to do is exactly what it is. We're going to put some stuff on a helmet. We're going to put it on the field. We're going to donate a little money and say that we're inspiring change. But at the end of the day, we're really not going to do a damn thing to really, back what we're saying we're doing. We're just going to put it so it looks good. There's things that you do for optics just so everybody looks and goes, ooh, man, look what you did. Like, only idiots get the wool pulled over their eyes. So let's keep going. The Broncos hired Nathaniel Hackett. Now, he had an interview with the Broncos. Coach Flores did. Coach basically said that they came in there, looked like they was hungover a little bit, and they had a long night. As a professional, you need to come in clear-minded into an interview, especially when you're hiring someone to run your franchise and to be the face of that franchise and stand in front of people and, take the good, the bad, and the ugly from the media when they're asking questions about what's going on, what happened, why it didn't happen, all of these things. But you come in a little wasted. And I'll tell you right now, personally, I don't care for John Elway after what he said as far as the kneeling situation. That man literally came out and said, anybody that kneels on my field will be fired. You know what that tells me? You care more about that damn flag than you do about the social justice that we were speaking in reference to. It tells me that your mind and your world is literally that fucking small. You live in this little micro world in your head that you don't even understand what the hell we were fighting for and what we still fighting for to this day. So, me personally, don't care for John Elway. I never liked the Broncos anyway. And either way, we laid the worst ass whooping on the fucking Broncos anyway in the Super Bowl. Never been an ass whooping laid out like that since. So, you go on to the Bears. They hired Matt Eberflus. That sounds like a Harry Potter character. No disrespect to the guy, but your last name is Eberflus. I feel like that's something you should say after you wave your wand in Harry Potter or something. I don't know. But then you go to the Saints. They still have an opening. Coach Flores is that's the other spot he was supposed to interview for. It was the Saints and the Houston Texans. The Jags just hired Doug Peterson. Minnesota just hired Kevin O'Connell. The Dolphins, the Texans, and the Saints are the only ones currently that still have openings. And Coach Flores has interviews with both teams. Now, I believe the Texans are just trying to get Coach Flores in there because they want to get Deshaun Watson back on the field, who, by the way, has been charged with nothing. There have been no court proceedings. Nothing has happened. After all of these allegations, he basically sat on his ass and did nothing all year and made his money, which I ain't going to front him for it. Hey, look, man, you don't want me on the field, pay me. I get it. But at the end of the day, some of these guys that were there, you look and you say, hey, man, some people got shafted. So let's take a look at some of these guys. Herm Edwards, one of the first dudes, came on with the Jets 2001 41-44, made the postseason 3 out of his 5 seasons. I'd say that's not bad. Kyle Shanahan's only made the postseason twice. Nothing against my head coach. I like him, but he's only made the postseason twice. He had losing records any other season. He got an extension. 49ers just fired John Embry because he didn't want to take a 60% pay cut. He was the head coach, and he was the tight ends coaches. So, I don't know. You ask that man take a 60% pay cut, you're basically looking at him, telling him to take food out of, money out of his pocket and, food away from his family. I don't know. So, you start to look at some of these guys and you see it. Deadspin did a basic outlook on it. And, they pretty much pulled up everything that they could. Let's take a look at some of these things real quick and go over a few. So like I said, Herm Edwards, the Jets hired Edwards. They were 9-7 in the year prior. Edwards was 10-6 in his first season, took the team to the second round of the playoffs. He was 41-44 in his tenure with the Jets. To the postseason, and in 3 of his 5 seasons, he was replaced. After his 5th season, he was replaced by Eric Mangini, who went 23-26. In 3 seasons with 1 playoff appearance. So pretty bad. Next guy on the list. So we're gonna look at Tony Dungy. Dungy was the man. Dungy had a great time when he was out there in. He was out there in Indianapolis with the Colts. Dungy was hired by the Colts after they went 6-10. Before he arrived, 7 seasons with the Colts, Dungy was 92-33, made the playoffs every season, won Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. He retired after the 2008 season, replaced by Jim Caldwell, who was the team's coach in waiting, a rare occurrence of the team having back-to-back black coaches. Think about what I just said right there. Back-to-back black coaches. Because Jim Caldwell was right there, they said, man, look, he already knows exactly what he's doing. He's a student of Tony Dungy. We might as well just keep the ball rolling. These are things that happen, man. That's a first. Marvin Lewis, 2003. Lewis was hired by the Bengals. Lewis was 8-8 in his first season. He stuck around for 15 more seasons. That man was 139, 129, and 3, but never won a playoff game in 7 trips. He was replaced by Zach Taylor, who was currently 16-32 in 3 seasons. What's going on, Matt? But these are the things that happen. So I'm just going to go over these names. I'm not going to dig too deep. So we got Marvin Lewis. We got Lovie Smith, Dennis Green, Romeo Cornell, Art Shell, Mike Tomlin, Mike Singletary, Jim Caldwell, Raheem Morris, Leslie Frazier, Hugh Jackson, Lovie Smith again with the Bucs, Jim Caldwell with the Lions, Todd Bowles, Hugh Jackson with the Browns, Vance Joseph, Anthony Lynn, Steve Wilkes, Brian Flores, and David Culley. So those are the names of the guys that have actually been hired during that time span. Marvin Lewis, long stint, 15 years, and man never won a playoff game. Look, I ain't got nothing against the Bengals. It seem like they don't mind to have a coach there. It just ain't going to do much. They got Zach Taylor, and I think after 15 years of not winning a playoff game, yeah, it's time for you to go. Sorry, you didn't. You just weren't cutting it. I can understand that. Herm Edwards had a couple of tenures, with the Jets and stuff like that. He had a couple of opportunities. He currently right now is here where I am in Arizona, coaching Arizona State University. And he's got Deuce McAllister there, so he's got a fantastic crew around him. Tony Dungy. Can't say enough about the man. And if he wanted to be a head coach again, there's a billion teams that would line up to hire that guy. He's just fantastic. Lovie Smith. He went ahead and he got in with the Bears in 2004. He was there for a while. So I can't say it's a negative thing about Lovie, and then he wound up getting another job in 2014 with the Bucs. A little bit short-lived, but, he still did his thing. Dennis Green, 2004, he had the believe it was the Arizona Cardinals that he went ahead and coached for, as far as that was concerned. So you take a look at it, and yeah, man, you start to see a little bit of time. He was replaced by Ken Whisenhunt, after 3 consecutive losing seasons, 16-32. Those are points where I get it. I understand it. Herm Edwards came along with the Chiefs again, and he had a little bit of a run. Art Shell didn't have too much of a time when it came to the Raiders, but he was there. Mike Tomlin is currently the only African-American head coach in the league as we sit here and speak. That is definitely going to continue because Pittsburgh doesn't believe in switching coaches like that. It wasn't until Bill Cowher retired that they basically let him go. And then they said, okay, Tomlin, this is your, he came in at the last minute, blew everybody away. And next thing you know, boom, hey, we like this guy. Give him the job, period. But that's because the Rooney family believes in equality and they really stand on their principles, unlike a lot of these other teams. So Romeo Crennel had a couple of stints as a head coach, and it was some good, some bad, but, I think he's still defensive coordinator in the league. Mike Singletary, we all remember him. He was the head coach for the 49ers for, I believe, about a year or two. We went ahead and let him go. We wound up with Jim Tomsula, which didn't make anything much better. Raheem Morris was the Bucs head coach. Leslie Frazier was the head coach for a small amount of time. Hugh Jackson had 2 tries with the Raiders and with the Browns. And I know that he just recently came out and stated that he was, basically incentivized to lose. That's a little hard for me to believe, and just seeing in the fact that the dude just had a really bad career as far as like career numbers at head coaching. Like it just, I'm sorry, man. I don't know if I believe that fully, but then again, hey, you never know. Stranger things have happened. But guys like Jim Caldwell should have never been let go. He had a winning season when the Lions let him go. He had 2 winning seasons. Vance Joseph was let go by the Broncos after a couple of years of not being able to get things going. Same thing with Anthony Lynn and the Chargers. Wasn't able to get things going, so they let him go. Now I'll talk about 2 main dudes here. And actually, I'll go in order. So 2018, Steve Wilks. Steve Wilks got straight screwed. You know why? They handed Steve Wilks a shit team, a brand new quarterback, and told him to turn, make gold out of, nothing. And he couldn't do that. And they immediately fired him. That doesn't make any sense. Why did he get such a short time frame? Like, as a head coach, when you go into these interviews, you literally almost have to say, I need time. You're hiring me, obviously, because the last person that was here felt that person couldn't get the job done. They weren't taking the team where they needed to take them. So I need to be able to assess this team properly, and I need you to allow me at a minimum 3 years to start producing wins. Reason being, I have to draft. I have to go into free agency. I have to be able to be on the same page with my general manager. The players have to want to come here. There are so many things that go into being a head coach and being a successful head coach that you can't give somebody a year and expect them to just turn it around and make it the greatest thing on earth. It does not work like that. But it seems that white people get better chances at doing that than black people do. And that's just evidence. Look at, I said it before, I'll say it again. 131 openings. 19 of us. 19. You mean to tell me there were 90 some odd head coaches that were better than what we were? You mean to tell me that there were not 90 other black head coaches that could have at least interviewed for the job and blew you away and got the job? I'm sorry, I can't believe that. So at the end of the day, what do we do about this? The class action lawsuit is there. You got the Rooney Rule in place. But what there needs to be is change. And it has to start with change at the top. These people ain't going to willingly sell these teams. They don't need to. That's how they make their money. That's their bread and butter. The only time you gonna ever get these owners to even move or budge on certain things is when you start fucking with their money. And here's the thing. That's what happened in Washington. They are now the Washington Commanders. Daniel Snyder did not want to change that name. FedEx came in and said, we'll pull our funding for the field and we're going to dig into your pockets. He looked and said, well, we are the Washington football team. Start playing with his money. People start doing shit. So that's basically how it works. And you got to be able to speak their language to be able to get them to want to go ahead and do things. Some other teams have given several head coaches, a couple go rounds, and I can appreciate that. But my thing is, you can't tell me that there are that many people, that are white that are just more qualified than somebody that's black, that's Latino, that's Indian, that's Native American, that's Hispanic, that's Lebanese, that's anything other than, the typical Caucasian male. It just seems to be very frustrating for us as football fans to sit back and watch shit like this happen. But this is how the league works. You can't blame the league office because they basically work for the owners. And they can say, hey, we push for this, we push for that, we ask for this, we ask for that. At the end of the day, if them owners don't want to hire nobody black, they don't care. They ain't gonna hire shit. Now, what you can do in the moment, right now, to take advantage of this, if you've got a good PR guy, first thing he's telling you to do is hire a black coach. Come out with that black coach. Go to the media session. Let them know how much you believe in him. Show that you stand behind that black coach and black people. Really put it out there. Even if you truthfully don't. But just put it out there. That'll bring you some ticket sales. That'll get you some money. There's incentives in this. So if there's a way for money to be made off this or things to be done, even if you truthfully don't even believe in these people, even if you truthfully know at the end of the day, I'm only doing this so I can get a couple people off my back and make sure that my name isn't in the list of people that don't really, that look bad and are not hiring black head coaches. Yeah, you could take very big advantage of this right now. As an owner, you could take real advantage. Look, man, I hired a black coach. His contract guaranteed. He ain't going nowhere. I'm going to give him time. I'm going to make sure I give him every tool that he can have to succeed. That's what I'm going to do. That's how that works. So you do that purposely because that will allow you to be able to capitalize on the moment. Then in the same instance, you don't look so bad to the league. Your name stops being on people's list. Works out well for you, right? I'm going to close this out because we're right at about the 30-minute mark. But I did want to address this because it's a ridiculous amount of coaches out there that just haven't been hired. And it's extremely unfair, man. It's really unfair. I guarantee you there's a bunch of black head coaches out there that are able, ready, and willing to be able to take over these teams. Steve Wilkes got screwed. David Culley got screwed. He knew what he was getting into. I'm 100% sure they told him, hey, we're just going to give you the team. We're trying to see if we can get Deshaun in here. And, we're going to hire you, even though you weren't the guy he wanted. We hired a black coach. Come on, Deshaun, help us out. Deshaun was like, nah, I'm not fucking with that. Stay my black ass in the house. I ain't got time for this shit. No, thank you. No, sir. No, ma'am. No ham. No spam. So at the end of the day, we have Ron Rivera, Robert Saleh, and Mike Tomlin. That's 3 out of 32 teams. I mean, there's 29 other head coaches that are white. And currently right now, we only have 3 teams that do not have a head coach. And currently, as it stands, I believe there is word that Miami may be hiring Mike McDaniels. Now, Mike McDaniels is rumored to be black. I have no evidence of this. I am not 100% sure of it. He just looks like your typical average white guy. But I did hear that there was somebody that wrote an article on him, and they were maligned for what they said in it because Mike McDaniels basically said, I'm not white, I'm black. I don't know what evidence of this exists, but this is just what I've heard in a couple of different forms. So I beats me, man. Looks like typical white guy to me, but I don't know. So the Dolphins are going to hire him. But I don't see Mike McDaniels coming to the forefront and stating I'm black and, now we have another black head coach and kind of doing all these things, man. I don't. It doesn't fit his character. There's nothing against him. It just I don't see him doing that. And then, like I said, the Texans and the Saints, we'll see. We still have time to figure out what they're going to do. But once again, appreciate you guys for listening to me ramble for 30 minutes, a little over 30 minutes. What I will say is it sucks that in today's times we still have these issues where we have to deal with stuff like this, where we're being whiteballed every which way you can think of. And in the world, sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. You can hobnob with the stars, you can rub elbows with all these guys, but at the end of the day, if they don't trust you and they don't like you, they're not going to hire you. I would hope that would be the case where we could actually get some things going in our favor and we would actually do well, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like that. So we've got 2 more head coaching vacancies. We'll see what happens with those. And if it turns out that those are 2 more head coaching vacancies that are filled by white candidates, it is what it is. I believe the Minnesota Vikings job probably would have been DeMeco Ryans' to lose, but he said he was going to stay here with us and build. I could kind of understand that because he only really had 1 year as a coordinator. But we'll see. We don't know what the future holds. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I know this is a tough subject for people to listen to and understand. But what I will say to you is open your mind and open your eyes and your ears to the reality of things. This stuff doesn't get complained about, talked about, or mentioned if we are not telling you the truth. This isn't just a moment where somebody's bitching or complaining. These are facts, and you can't dispute that. Thank you so much for your time. Y'all stay blessed, stay faithful, and I'll be back with more videos, man. We'll get into some off-season stuff, take a look and figure out some things. We've got a lot of stuff to go over. But have fun, watch the Pro Bowl, and stay blessed. Peace.